number 5 for me is Madam Web. I'm kidding.
Hello and welcome to Cassette Take, where you can eject wherever you want, but please don't forget to rewind. I'm Ethan.
I'm Annmarie.
And Annmarie, what did we just go see for the whole year?
Oh, movies!
Movies!
It's like, wait, we didn't go see a movie, but okay.
That's one singular. We saw the cinema, the all cinema.
We did see cinema this year.
Yeah, holy crap, guys. 2024 is coming to a close, and man, that was so fast.
I feel like we saw so many movies this year. It was an amazing year. Thank God after 2023 because there was writer strikes, the pandemic, and everything. And so now we're in 2024 and we were given so many good movies this year.
Yeah, honestly, it rivals the year about a decade ago, 2014. I would say.
Oh my God, what a good year of movies too.
Yeah, I mean, like in previous years, I've been able to really do a fairly easy top 5 for the most part. Like, okay, that goes there, that goes there. It's not too much competition except occasionally. Here, outside the number 1 spot for me, everything was like, oh, but like this one so much. It's like this one's so cool, and this one had that, and that one like looked at me funny, and this is like.
Ethan walked in and he's like, Annmarie, I had to pick my favorite child. I'm like, same. This was really hard. And it was especially hard because I had to go back and look. And I'm like, wait, okay, we saw this and we saw this. And I swear, I wrote my list of my favorite movies and it was about 15 movies this year. And I had to kick 10 of them off the island, basically. It was really hard.
Yeah, it's like constantly throughout the year, I heard both you and I saying constantly after we saw a movie, like, wow, this one might break my top 5. Wow, this one might break my top 5. Wow, this one might break my top 5. And it's like, by the end of the day, it's like, wow, that actually didn't end up breaking my top 5 because of the other movies that broke my top 5.
We're going to have to go back and see all the ones that we ranked number 10 and be like, oh, never mind. They got pushed out.
Oh man, but what a great year for cinema. I love it. And for all of you who haven't read the title, you just clicked because you love my design of the thumbnail so much. We are doing a top 5 like we did last year of our most favorite movies of the year. Indisputable, completely objective.
And we're right and you're wrong.
Yes, 100%. No, film's subjective, all art's subjective. Your list is probably different than ours, and honestly, we probably didn't see everything. We're not omnipotent cinema beings that, have our eyes constantly, flipping through the frames.
We have lives.
I mean, I don't, but I still don't manage to see. But no, I'm sure that you guys, your lists are different. And if they are, guys, let us know in the comments down below, because I'm sure there's some that we missed and we don't know about that you guys are super passionate about that we want to go see. And when we have time, we'll definitely get around to it.
Definitely.
Other than our top 5 best movies of the year for 2024, we will also be doing our top 5 most anticipated movies for this coming year, 2025. And in between it all, we'll have our honorable mentions.
Yes.
And we'll bring up some TV shows as well for, little side notes. But yeah, without a further ado, Annmarie, would you like to kick off our honorable mentions for best of 2024?
Yes, this is so hard. I'm like shaking with my list. I wrote it on a piece of paper. But there's so many movies that like were in my top 5 and then got booted out. And there was so many changes. I'm just like a coach be like pulling teammates out and everything. But again, there's just so many good movies that came out this year. And so a couple of them that I want to say is I had Inside Out 2 on my list for a very long time. And then I had to boot it out. I also had Fall Guy on my list, which I was pretty surprised about. That one got booted out a little bit later. Those were like the main 2 I really, really were like, they were really close contenders, but they got switched a lot with my number 5. So I gotta give shout out to those 2 especially. So
yeah, right there with you. And honestly, kind of with some of the same movies that you mentioned.
What did you have to?
Well, I mean, we'll wait. Did you mention all your honorable mentions?
I couldn't give a whole list.
Okay. So for my honorable mentions, one I actually just saw yesterday, Clint Eastwood's Juror Number 2. And I feel like this is my biggest honorable mention here because Warner Brothers did not do a very good job of marketing this movie and letting us know how good it actually was by one of the best directors that's on his last legs, but he doesn't really show it. This man's like in his mid 90s now, I think, and he's still directing like phenomenal films. I mean, his last one, I can't remember what it was called, but he decided to play the main role, which was made honestly for a middle-aged man,
Mhm.
and direct it. Not the best idea. It didn't really give the best product. But this time around, he focused on just directing and producing. And even at that age, that's still impressive. He had Nicholas Hoult. It had Toni Collette. Wonderful cast. J.K. Simmons. And everyone did a phenomenal job. Cinematography was brilliant. The acting was brilliant. And it's a very enticing story, very engaging, so many twists and turns, and I was not expecting this movie to end up in my honorable mentions list, but it somehow did, and I feel it very important to mention it because Warner Brothers, guys, what are you doing? I'm not sure if you have a thing out for Clint Eastwood or what. You lost a standoff to him in the West somewhere, and you're embarrassed. But I mean, guys, watch Juror number 2. It's on Max. Definitely do it. That was the only one I was standing on pedestal for.
Okay.
Everything else I'll just list. Emilia Perez was definitely on there. Well, we saw at the Chicago Film Festival, which was a cool experience. We got to go this year. Challengers get Luca on there.
Okay.
Transformers 1, a movie I was not expecting to love as much as I did. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
What?
Yeah, which was another one of those ones where I'm like, that should have made my top 5. And I thought it would, especially because I'm like, wow, this shows so much promise for the upcoming Legend of Zelda movie. And there were just so many good movies that came afterwards that kicked it out. If you're seeing what I'm seeing, Annmarie is like completely mouth agape. It's just
Wow.
And then just 2 or 3 more here. Furiosa, which again was on my top 5 for the longest time and then got kicked out. And Wicked was one that didn't make my top 5, and that was recently where I'm like, wow, this one might make my top 5. December was crazy. November, December were crazy.
Yeah.
And then last but not least, Anora.
Okay.
Anora was wonderful. Was not expecting it to be as great as it was, and especially with the subject matter. But similar to Emilia Perez, it wonderfully surprised me, and I highly recommend seeing it. Not with the family, necessarily. It's very sexually explicit, but definitely see it when you can in the right context.
Wow. I'm just shocked because you named a couple that are on my top 5.
Just shows how good my list is. No.
God, okay.
All right, Annmarie. It's time.
All
Your
right.
top 5 of 2024.
All right. We're starting with number 5 and going to 1, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right. So, number 5 for me is Madam Web. I'm kidding.
Brought to you by Pepsi.
I had to do that. It's actually crazy. No, I'm kidding. No, my 5 it's actually Challengers. I love this film. I'm loyal to Luca, and looking back, I just remember how fun it was, how different it was, the different angles, and also it really stands as one of Zendaya's best films, and I think she should be recognized for it, especially because her acting's just wonderful in this movie. You want to hate her, but you also like want to cheer for her at the same time. And so I had to add Challengers as my number 5.
That's a really good one. I mean, heck, that's why I hit on my honorable mentions.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I couldn't ignore Luca. Our King Luca.
King Luca.
Did you ever see Queer, by the way?
No, I didn't get to see Queer this year. I know, guys. I'm gonna go see it.
Can't let her King Luca down.
Luca, and I trust you. I trust you.
And Luca we trust. Oh, shoot. Am I doing top?
Yeah, you gotta go. You're 5.
All right.
Number 5.
My number 5, and this was switching out constantly between Inside Out 2, Furiosa, Wicked, and Anora. What it came out to at the end of the day, which one did I see more than once? Which one did I get more of a warm feeling while watching, like something that really immersed me? And I gotta say, Saturday Night is my
Okay.
number 5.
Really?
Yeah, I think it was just so wonderfully put together. It gave me big Whiplash vibes. It just, everything came together so wonderfully. It's hard to find a flaw in that movie. The cast is such a wonderful ensemble together. And the musical score by John Baptiste really intensifying and verifying like how tense everything actually is and enhancing those moments with his score. Incredible. So, and the fact that it looks like it's shot on film like from the time as well. And it was released when we, on that same day of the year, like October, whatever it was, 22nd. So it kind of immersed you more into it. And yeah, it was just so hard to find something wrong with that movie. And I loved it. I couldn't take it off my top 5 no matter what I did.
Yeah, definitely.
So that was my number 5. Annmarie, numero cuatro, mi amiga.
All right, if you told me that my number 4 would have beaten Inside Out 2 before this year, I would have told you you were crazy because I am not a fan of this IP. I'm just not. I grew up. I didn't grow up with it. Ethan's nodding. He knows exactly. But Transformers 1 stole my heart. I'm shocked, you guys. Like, this would have never happened. But it beat Inside Out 2. I remember coming out of it, and one of the big things I told you, and in that review, if you re-listen, I said there's once-in-a-lifetime movies, like Into the Spider-Verse, once-in-a-lifetime movies that you get to go see for the first time and experience. And that was Transformers 1 for me. It absolutely captivated me. I really do think it's got a good chance of being best animated movie at the Oscars. I think it could be Inside Out 2. I'm shocked. Like, and we had 2 big heavy hitters this year with Moana 2 and this in Inside Out 2. I'm shocked it made my list.
When we came out of the theater and saw that, and you told me that, I'm like, you know what? It makes sense, but at the same time, I was still like shocked either way.
I would never thought. And like Chris Hemsworth is awesome in it. I love the whole cast. I'm shocked in.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about it, though, it's essentially like another Dune story.
Yes. Oh yeah. It's so good.
Star Wars 1, a Dune story. Like if Mufasa were Duned.
Yeah.
That's essentially what it is.
Basically. What's your number 4?
So this one, you'll know immediately what it is as soon as I say what I did. So you and I went to go see it at a fan event, and I was so happy you went to go see it with me in a Dolby Cinema, and you really did not want to go see this movie, but you went anyway. We left, did our review, and I woke up I was now working that day, so I woke up right away. I'm like, wow, that movie was so damn good. I gotta see it again. Not even 12 hours later, I get up and go to the theater again to watch this movie, and I loved it even more the second time. Alien Romulus. I love that movie so much. Fede Alvarez knocked it out of the park here. He did a wonderful job of recapturing what made Alien great, while also implementing and respecting what Ridley Scott had done, not only in the past, but like in the recent past with Prometheus and reluctantly for me, Alien Covenant. But like still that Prometheus, lore as well. Didn't just completely disregard it. And I think those are what the best sequels or like reboots or, just kind of those types of movies that, restart franchise are supposed to do and work best is when they don't just simply, what's the word? I was going to say infrared, like that's not, when you completely disregard retcon.
Yeah.
Why did I say infrared? When you completely retcon, an aspect of a movie or, that came before in that same franchise that you didn't like and just kind of go back to the ones that just worked and just focus on those. Not inherently a bad idea, but I think if you're able to make it work and like kind of make people look more fondly upon those other movies than they did before while making a great project of your own, you've succeeded, tenfold. So well done, Fede Alvarez and the wonderful cast and crew of Alien Romulus. I'm so excited to watch this one again whenever I get a chance to. And that would be my number 4.
Yeah, that was, even though I was terrified the whole time, I knew how much you loved that movie. So I'm glad I got to go see it with you, even though I was terrified the whole time. All right, number 3. I can't believe you don't have this movie on your top 5. I'm shocked you don't have this movie on your top 5 because I remember you walking out and being like, this might be Dune Part 2. I was like, are you kidding me? I have Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes on my number 3. This movie is outstanding. I think it pays such a great path for this franchise. into something new and different. And oh my gosh, the animation and CGI and everything involved to create this world is just incredible. And I think it brings so many newcomers into the lights. And again, I thought this was just fantastic. I had it at number 2. I got it pushed a little bit, but it was fighting for that number 2 spot for a really long time. So
Wow. I mean, I don't blame you. I really don't.
yeah,
Because I mean, even when I pulled it out of my top 5, I'm just
I'm
like,
shocked.
wow, like I'm really doing this because I love that movie so much. I love the character of Noah and this whole world building that they do. Even though like there was a world established, he moves hundreds of years into the future
Mhm.
and, still manages to make it its own thing while again respecting the past. And it's truly wonderful. Westball directed these actors wonderfully. They really were able to put together a masterclass in filmmaking here. And I gotta say though that it did give me quite a bit of hope again, like for the Legend of Zelda movie. Like
Yeah.
this was the movie that did it. I could see like, wow, there's the dungeon, or like there's those open Hyrulean fields, and it's or Hylian. I don't know. I Zelda nerds go after me. But yeah, it really did take my breath away. But just wow, I only wish there were so many good movies this year so I could put it on my top 5 like you
I'm
did.
shocked you don't have it, but
So am I.
yeah. What was your number 3?
So my number 3 is one that again, a lot of unexpected ones here
Yeah.
that I was not expecting to put in my top 5 until I saw it. I was always interested in it and the concept and the idea, but never got around to actually thinking, wow, you know what? This one would definitely be one of my most anticipated movies of the year. Conclave.
Really?
Yes,
What?
I loved Conclave. I thought it was an awesome film made by the same director as All Quiet on the Western Front, the most recent one, and it just was such a really respectful. And I know that there's a bunch of, I'm sure, theologians out there that would probably tend to disagree with me, but to me, it was a very respectful manner of handling the dynamics of the church and acknowledging the faults of humanity within the church, but also acknowledging the beauty of the church through wonderful cinematography and respectful cinematography, but also doing what cinema does best and just putting a lens where it needs to be and portraying both the good, the bad, and everything in between, those caught in the middle that just want to do the right thing. And this movie fulfills all those objectives, and not only that, but looks incredible while doing it. So it's definitely got to go to Conclave for that.
Wow. Is that scene that we discussed in our review still your favorite scene of the year?
Yes, absolutely.
Really? Okay.
Well, one of my favorite scenes of all time.
Okay.
Yeah, it's definitely one of my favorite scenes of all time. My number 1 pick for this year has my favorite scene, this year.
Okay.
Which by proxy, yes, that means that it's on one of my
Yeah.
favorite scenes of all time. But yeah, Conclave caught me off guard, and I'm here for it.
Wow. Okay. All right.
So, Annmarie, we're getting to our top 2 here. So what's your number 2?
All right. So I walked out of this movie and I said, damn, this might be Best Picture. And it might be my number 1 on my list, which I won't say yet. But I walked out of this movie and Saturday Night just blew my mind. I absolutely love this movie. I think as a fan of Saturday Night Live, I think, if you don't know, Ethan and I have worked on film sets before and just live shows and the chaos and fun of it. I absolutely adore this movie. I love this cast. I think so many of them deserve a Oscar nomination, and I hope they do. But I just give so much respect to it to honor the past, but also like kind of embrace it. It's so sad it wasn't marketed as well. I think actual SNL could have done so much to market this film. But yeah, I absolutely adored this film.
Yeah, do you think this movie was one that was mainly made for the award rather than like the box office?
Oh, definitely. Definitely made for the award. I think Gabrielle LaBelle is just absolutely amazing in this. And I think it will get a lot of nominations, and it'll come back around, and people will be like, "What is this movie?" But I wish, it stinks to see movies fail. I don't want to see any movie fail, but hopefully it kind of gets some recognition again during the Oscar season.
Yeah, I'm so excited to get that one on Blu-ray. So, okay, my number 2 is one I just saw the other day, and I was on my most anticipated movies of the year, and it features a movie that it features an actor who kind of plays the same role that he did in a movie that was on my top 5 from last year, which was, and feel free to hate me, Renfield from last year was on my top 5. Come at me, haters. But no, Nosferatu, Robert Eggers' Nosferatu. Holy crap. I love Robert Eggers. We all know this. I love his work on The Lighthouse. The Northman is one of my favorite movies of all time. And the way he handles mythology is so amazing. So to hear that he was taking one of the most iconic, creepy stories in Gothic horror of all time in Nosferatu was just like a match made in heaven, or I guess hell, somewhere in that spiritual realm for him. And I was so excited. Again, that's why it was on my most anticipated movie list last year for this year. And by golly, Robert Eggers delivers on all fronts here. I'm not sure though I would put it over The Northman yet.
Okay.
I might have to watch it again and maybe watch The Northman again, but it it's definitely one of his one of his masterpieces. Just about everything that man touches is a masterpiece. And I'm not really one to put my hand up to my face like for scary movies or anything like that, especially in recent years. But this one, he's so good at handling suspense and the build up to a scare and making the atmosphere scarier than it actually is. And just the environments, the world. I had my hand unconsciously like near my face through quite a bit of it. So yeah, Robert Eggers' Nosferatu, a wonderful Christmas day to present underneath the tree.
So Ethan went to go see it, and I asked if you liked it, and you're like, "Do you want to wait?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I want to wait to see if it makes your top 5." And when you didn't mention it in honorable mentions, I was like, "It definitely made your."
Yeah, it's my Nosferatu.
And you really called it. You were like, "I'm so excited for this movie at the beginning of this year," and I just didn't get it, and so I'm really happy you loved it. So
And I got another one for my most anticipated for next year. That's like a similar set of circumstances. But before we get to that, Annmarie,
can we say it together?
I assume it's the same one.
It better be the same one.
Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Dune Part 2. What?
No, Dune Part 2.
God, I got so nervous. I don't want to force anyone into liking anything, but my God, Ethan, if you didn't say Dune Part 2, this podcast would be over.
No pressure.
This movie, you guys, I know I'm a Dune fan. I know we have mentioned it numerous times. I'm going to go back and edit every time I say Dune in a podcast. This movie's incredible. Like, it absolutely is. Ethan has read the book. I have read the book. I think it does the best it can from a beautiful novel that Frank Herbert wrote and creates a story that's so interesting. This is amazing work of art that shouldn't be possible. Like, the David Lynch, who did Dune, the one that's not super good, he's like, "You can't do Dune. You can't." And Denis was like, "Watch me. I'm gonna do it." And wow, I can't believe it.
Yeah, Dune Part 2, when you first told me about Dune, like when it was just Part 1, and you're like hyping this thing up, and I'm like, yeah, no. I mean, like I'm sure it's gonna be a fun sci-fi movie, and I love Timothée Chalamet, but are we serious here? Then I went to see Dune Part 1 with you, and I'm like, Annmarie, that was one of my favorite movies of all time. Like
Yes!
that was awesome. And the fact that it wasn't done yet, like we had a part 2 coming to fulfill the remainder of the story. I'm like, whoa. Like I was so interested that I actually stopped at the point in the book where the movie left off.
I know, I can't believe you did that.
So, because I wanted no expectations for the next one other than what had come before with the movie. And going into Doom Part 2, we did our first fan event.
Yes.
Where we saw it in IMAX with a very wonderful, respectful crowd. Shout out to y'all. I don't know if you know who we are, or we know who you are, but that was a wonderful communal experience that resulted in one of the best cinematically religious experiences of my life. Like, I almost felt like I needed a genuflect, like leaving my row. It was wonderful. Like, just how immersed I was in that movie. I still remember the one scene of the sandworm coming out,
Oh
and like
gosh.
Hans Zimmer's score surrounding it. And I felt like I was going to be eaten by that thing. Like, it reminded me of how people felt almost of like a train arriving at the station or wherever that one of the first movies was ever called, like where the train's coming and just arriving at a station. But at the time, all those people like, what? Like, there's a train coming at us. This is real life. And they're like running, like, I don't know. That experience with the worm was just so crazy. And everything else about the movie, from Greg Frazier's cinematography to Denis directing to Timothy Chalamet's acting performance in this, which if that man doesn't win, like, for that performance in particular, and I'm sure they're gonna be like, oh no, dude, like the great unknown or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gosh, man, like, I was so taken away because I know one of the biggest things with Timothy was the fact that people were like, he can't be Paul Atreides. He won't be able to, like, sure, he's probably like Paul at the beginning, but by the time we get to the Lisan al Gaib and Muad'Dib, there's no way.
Yeah.
That one scene alone, and you know what I'm talking about. Y'all know what I'm talking about.
And Paul Atreides. Such a good scene.
You know, and he transforms.
I'm gonna go watch this tonight. You know what means so much to me? Everyone in our friend group called me crazy because I said it was better than Star Wars. I said Star Wars ripped off Dune, and no one believed me in our friend group. And guess what? After we saw it, one of our friends came up and he was like, I get it now, Annmarie. Yes!
Inspired by Dune.
But I think the biggest thing is and I know it's not coming out next year, but oh my God, Denis is making Dune Messiah, and I have no clue where we're heading, and I love it. I feel like I'm on the biggest roller coaster of my life. I'm so happy. I really hope Denis gets a nomination this year. I swear to God, the Oscars, you better give him a nomination. He truly deserves it. I can't believe it. Can Dune Messiah come out in 2025? Why do I have to wait?
Denis is your Messiah. Fanatic figure.
Oh my God, such a good movie.
Wow. Yeah, without doubt, Dune Part 2, for both of us, I'm pretty sure, stayed at the top.
It never wavered.
Yeah, just about with no hesitation. Although I will be honest, Nosferatu did come the closest. Not only because it is number 2, but in my mind, there's like certain gaps I put in between those numbers.
Yeah.
That one came very close.
Really?
Yeah, because I really love Robert Eggers' work, and I'm such a sucker for good mythology. So when you do it right, you do it right for me. And Denis just did it just a step better with his crew. And I gotta say, like, Dune Part 2, chef's kiss.
And Denis loves Dune, and so I'm just so happy he finally got to like do it after so many years. So yes.
But hey guys, before we get to our most anticipated list here, guys, what do you think of our lists? Are you a full agreement to us, which I doubt? Are you like, wow, you missed this, or you haven't seen this? Unbelievable, you weirdo. We're gonna burn your house with pitchforks and torches.
Gosh.
The casual stuff. But whatever you guys are thinking, like, we want to know your lists, truly, because this was such a wonderful, great year.
So amazing.
Yeah, for cinema. And we want to hear what you guys think. Did you guys have, like, The Substance on yours? Did you guys have, what was it, Dee was another one that I've been hearing. We didn't have Love Lies Bleeding on ours. It didn't really work for us. But, I did hear that worked for quite a bit of, reviewers that I respect in the industry. So maybe that's on your list. Whatever you guys are thinking, let us know your takes on our tapes. in those comments down below and your lists in those comments as well.
Yeah.
So with that, Annmarie, let's fast forward on to our most anticipated movies of 2025.
Oh man, I think this was a harder list for me than best this year. There's so many movies. There's so many that I left off because I just couldn't fit 5. I went back and forth. It was so hard for me, but
Oh, first, yeah, honorable mentions.
honorable mentions. I have so many. Karate Kid Legends was on there. I think Cobra Kai's such a great TV show. I'm so excited for Karate Kid Legends. Lilo and Stitch is on there too. I know live action, people love it or hate it. I'm on the love side. I really do enjoy those films. I had Freakier Friday on my list. I love Freaky Friday. I love Jamie Lee Curtis. I love Lindsay Lohan. I'm just so excited for them to come back. I had Zootopia 2. I forgot that's coming out next year. I'm so excited. And then you're going to be shocked. I put Jurassic World Rebirth on my almost list. I'm shocked it didn't make my top 5.
I am very shocked by
I
it.
know. It got pushed out at the last second because I forgot a movie. I'm like, it's got to go off. So
I have a feeling of what might have kicked it off, but
yeah,
we'll see.
we'll see. So those are honorable mentions for next year.
Okay, so I only have 2 honorable mentions, really. Actually, no, 3 for next year. One of them did not make the top 5 list, but this is the one I was referring to when I was saying, like, I'm very hyped for it, and it's got a similar situation to Robert Eggers doing a Nosferatu movie. Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein. That one is such a great combination. Again, taking one of the greatest romantic horror directors and putting him in hands with one of the greatest romantic horror stories of all time in Frankenstein. So I'm so excited for that one. I think we've seen set photos from it already, and it looks massive, like in scale, and just Guillermo del Toro really knows how to build worlds and use practical effects and, a great balance of practical and, CGI together, and just really loves the passion of filmmaking as an art form. So I'm really hyped for that one. Followed by that, I have the Fantastic Four movie, which didn't make my top 5 most anticipated, but I'm excited for it nonetheless, especially with Michael Giacchino's score, which sounds amazing. And the cast, I love the cast, the director. I mean, like, everything is coming together for that movie. So, I have a feeling that's definitely going to be a strong direction, a strong force for where Marvel's going to be headed.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I think that will be it for. I didn't write the most anticipated honorable mentions down, so that's on me. But those are the 2 that I will say for now.
Okay. All right. Are we going 5, 4, 3, 2, 1?
Yeah, we'll do the same thing we did before.
Okay. All right. So this made it on just because of the trailer. How to Train Your Dragon. I can't believe we're doing a live action. I'm so excited for this. This looks so epic. I can't wait to see Toothless on screen again. He looks incredible in the trailer. I'm just so excited that the director from the animated series is coming back. It's going to be an absolutely fantastic film. I think it's one of my favorite animated trilogies. And so I can't believe we're going to get a live action version of this. So
yeah, that was actually the one that was supposed to be on my honorable mentions.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it didn't make your top 5?
No, it did not. Honestly, I don't think. Yeah, no live action remake made it to my
Yay.
top 5. Yeah, I'm weird. I'm weird like that.
What was your number 5?
Number 5 is actually one I expected to be on yours, Jurassic World Rebirth.
Oh, yeah.
I would not be excited about this if you were to ask me coming out of the last Jurassic World movie, what was it, Dominion?
Oh, God.
Like, coming out of that movie, while my mother loved it, I was just like, ugh. I felt gross after watching it. It felt so dumb and pointless. And I mean, the dinosaurs were cool, but they weren't even really dinosaurs. And it was all weird. And it's like nostalgia bait here and there. And I usually give more favor to nostalgia bait when it's done right, or like when it's actually part of the story and a big factor of it. But here it was just like, oh, ew, that, like, those member berries are expired. And I'm like, yeah, I'm definitely not really excited for the next one. It just, but then I was hearing the team that they were putting together for this one. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's the same writer as the original. that's coming back, that wrote the screenplay for this one now for Jurassic World Rebirth. And then it's got Scarlett Johansson, what's his name, O'Connor?
No, it's Jonathan Bailey,
Jonathan Bailey, and
Mahershala Ali, and director Gareth Edwards, which is
yeah.
actually incredible get for Jurassic Park.
Yes.
Right.
I mean, Gareth Edwards is so good at scale. So, I mean, we will have to see how he handles that and see if it's truly reborn into something wonderful or if we're just going to get a homunculus coming out of the dinosaur egg.
Let's hope not.
But all right, Annmarie, what is your number 4 most anticipated movie?
Man, we haven't talked about this yet. Ethan and I kind of took Christmas break, and then this trailer came out, and it captivated the world. I have Superman as my number 4.
As your number 4?
Oh, trust me, this was so hard, Ethan. This was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life.
I thought this was gonna be like a certain one, like Doom Part 2 for our number 1s. I thought we were gonna be lined up for our number 1, so this one.
No, it's at number 4. I'll tell you the movie that bumped everything that I forgot about. That's my number 2, but number 4, I had to put it here. I'm so excited for Superman. I think James Gunn is gonna knock it out of the park. I love his Guardians, and so I'm really hoping it has that same, not vibe, but just same like fun energy. I love this cast, and I can't wait for this movie. It's just already looks so cool. I can't believe Nicholas Hoult is Lex Luthor. What the hell is going on?
Bro, Nicholas Hoult is going off these past few years, and I love it.
I'm so excited, but yeah, I know, I'm shocked. I had to put it as my number 4.
That's really surprising to me, but hey, the fact that's on the list,
It got on the list.
yeah, that's how I know you're not going insane.
It got on it.
Okay, so my number 4 was one. We keep saying this, but like if you were to go back in time and ask me, would this be on your most anticipated for next year? I would have told you, you got to be kidding me. But after seeing the first movie, I'm like, whoa, that was pretty dang good. Wicked for good.
Really?
Yeah. So I am not someone that, is like the biggest, Wizard of Oz fan.
Musical fan.
Well, I mean, I'm a musical fan,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, but I'm not the biggest, Wizard of Oz guy or like I never saw the Wicked musical. I never really had any association with it at all. And then after we went to go see Wicked in theaters, I was so surprised by how good that film was and how it was not only the musical of Wicked, but a nod and homage to old Hollywood and like the style of the storytelling and cinematography and acting was just a harken back to those like a romanticized Hollywood days. Of course, to the surface level of things, not the dirty stuff going on underneath. But it was just such a wonderful trip back there. And I was just so blown away by this movie. Like it really defied expectations along with Gravity. And the fact that I'm left that movie excited for the next one was something I would not have expected, truly. So yeah, Wicked for Good is on my top 5 list for most anticipated.
Wow, we went into that movie and I was excited and you were excited, and we came out completely opposite. You were so excited and I was disappointed. I'm shocked it made it.
Yeah, I mean, again, Cynthia Erivo, Ariana Grande, everyone in that cast did so well, and I got so many of the songs stuck in my head.
Yeah.
It's crazy. This movie has infected me. I'm surprised my skin isn't turning green. It's crazy.
All right, my number 3, it went back between my 2 and 3, and I had to think about it for a really long time, but we're praying to the movie gods that this comes out next year. If this gets pushed, everything is reordered here, but I have Avatar 3 Fire and Ash on my list. Right now, it's still announced for December 2025. James Cameron, please don't push it another 10 years. I can't do that anymore. I love the second Avatar. It actually made my top 5 favorite movies of all time. It's still on that list, surprisingly. And everyone's like, really? And I'm like, I love that second movie. I think it's incredible. And I can't wait to see what James Cameron does. I'm so excited that this world, like, is so cool and so rich and so different. Ethan will tell you anything with family I love, and so I just can't wait to see the Sullys come back and see what they do, and yeah, I'm just incredibly I can't
Just felt like Dom from Fast and Furious's head, like peeking out behind your shoulder when he said that.
family.
Yeah.
Yeah, but oh man, I had to switch so much with my number 2, and I had to put it as number 3, so.
So we've been putting stuff down that has been like very like grand and epic and
Yeah.
like big budget and like, oh man, this could be so exciting. Believe it or not, my number 3 is very like small compared to all that.
What is
And one that is most certainly not on your list. I know this for a fact. I love Leslie Nielsen's Naked Gun movies.
Yeah.
I like it's some of the best slapstick, some of the best like cleverly written humor I've ever heard in my life. It never gets me to fail to laugh. And it's sad that, Leslie had passed away many years ago and that we haven't really seen too much of that humor since. And to have it announced this past year that they were making a new Lethal Weapon, Naked Gun movie
Yeah.
with Liam Neeson playing essentially Detective Frank Durbett, Leslie Nielsen's role in this movie. It's just, and all the hype and word of mouth I'm hearing about it from people like within the industry that's like really excited about it. They're saying only good things. I've heard like people loving the script. They're loving like Liam Neeson in the character. And he is such a good fit for that role, like with deadpan. If you ever seen that one bit in Ted where Liam Neeson is just buying a box of tricks from Ted, like saying like, "Oh, this is exclusively for children, I hear." Like getting all intense about something so minuscule and simple. Like, I mean, it's such wonderful deadpan delivery and it works. And there's so few people that are able to execute that properly to get a genuine laugh that hurts your abdomen, fully. So I gotta put the Naked Gun movie coming out.
Okay. All right. Wow. Okay. I did not expect that. All right. So my number 2, I did have Jurassic World Rebirth in my list until I forgot about this movie. I can't believe I forgot it because I think these movies are incredible. I think it's a big FU to Star Wars fans out there. That's right. Knives Out 3, Wake Up Dead Man is number 2 on my list. I absolutely love this series. I think Ryan Johnson needed a huge win after Star Wars Episode 8 because so many people didn't think he could direct a movie. Then Knives Out came and he's like, guess what? I can direct a movie. And I'm so happy for him. I love this weird trilogy. I think the second movie is awesome. I really hope that Netflix gives it a full release or even like more because the second one did so well in theaters. So, and this cast is absolutely incredible. And Mila Kunis is in it. Like Joshua O'Connell's in it. There's so many people in this movie. And yeah, it really messed up my whole entire list because I was like, oh shoot, this movie's coming out. I have to have that as number 2.
And we know you're a sucker for murder mystery.
I love this series.
Wow, I'm not surprised that one. I was considering putting that one on my list as like number 5, but obviously it got kicked off by some other ones, which would be my number 2, a Best Picture winning director from South Korea named Bong Joon-ho.
Oh,
And I think this movie was supposed to come out this year, but it got pushed back, and I think it just got pushed back again to later this year.
April.
Yeah, Mickey 17.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw this trailer. I was already like very intrigued. And I think I had this on my list from last year too. But yeah, so Mickey 17, please arrive this time. Bong Joon-ho, I love Parasite. Parasite was an awesome movie. Obviously, the Academy got the same thing, gave him the Best Picture award, and it's just such a well-made film that now that he's with like some of the best, actors in the business in Hollywood, I'm so curious to hear how he handles like sci-fi and taking that next step, with a much bigger budget. So to have him do Mickey 17, and especially after seeing that trailer, I'm digging the vibe. I'm digging like the dark comedy atmosphere, the bounciness, but like, Ren and Stimpy chaoticness of it all between the two different versions that Robert Pattinson has to play. I mean, it just seems like such a fun time. And I love the fact that Robert Pattinson himself even said that he drew from inspiration of Ren and Stimpy
Yeah.
for the two different roles that he's playing. And I'm on board simply after that interview, if it weren't for Bong Joon-ho, but as well. But yeah, the Mickey 17, so excited for it. It's my number two. And I'm a little surprised it's not on yours, but like, hey,
It got kicked off.
oh, so it was gonna be on me?
It was on it for a while.
Oh, okay.
And then it got moved. But
Dang,
yeah.
we're all victims here.
Yeah, I really hope it comes out because we've been waiting for this.
Yeah. So, Annmarie.
My number one. I can guess what your number one is because I think our number ones are going to be competing against each other. You thought November and December was crowded? Just wait till June and July comes because Jurassic World Rebirth is coming out, I believe, 2 weeks after these movies. But I have Fantastic Four as my number one. I think that's pretty much a given. I grew up on these comic books. I absolutely adore this cast. I think this movie has so much going for it. You Marvel, Kevin Feige, please, I really need you to nail Fantastic Four. Like, I can't go another 10 years without seeing this first family. I have so much faith in the director, in Vanessa Kirby, and Pedro Pascal, and Joseph Quinn. I really hope that this movie knocks it out of the park, especially because I believe it's going up against your number one.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, Fantastic Four was on the list, and obviously I mentioned it in honorable mentions. But the thing that kicked it off, honestly, was Naked Gun.
Really?
Because it kept oh wait, I forgot to put on the list because I had Fantastic Four at number 4, and then it's just like, oh, okay, kick that off, get Naked Gun on there. Oh
So
man, and I
it's-
looked at the list for a moment,
Yeah.
and I'm like, you know what? I really like Naked Gun though, and then I put it over Fantastic Four, and I'm like, but I need this. Like, I really like Naked Gun though, and I like put it to number 3. Like, it was me constantly retyping and backspacing on my phone. And by the end of it, yeah, Fantastic Four was kicked off. So I'm like, oh, well, I need this here, and I had to fill in the blanks, but
It's fine.
it's fine. But no, that's a good one to have. I'm excited for that one as well. And I know how much it means to you. So, kind of like how much this one means to me.
Is it what I'm thinking it is?
Guys, Superman, James Gunn's Superman coming out. You see the trailer, we get the John Williams score. Hearing that alone, the vibe, Superman was never really a character that I was like always jazzed about. Maybe when I was younger, I was like, I really liked his, having a action figure that could fly and he looked cool with the cape. But I always thought he stood for hope and all that, and like something that was very uplifting and always positive every time I saw it, no matter what he dealt with, even in the darkest times. And to see, and again, nothing against too much against Zack Snyder's version, the Henry Cavill, who did great, with everything he was given. But I don't know, it just was such a different version than what I was used to. And I'm okay with new versions, but it was such a different take that didn't really feel like Superman anymore. It felt there wasn't really a sense of hope. It was always like constant dread. There was like an occasional nod to hope, but it was more constant dread. And it didn't help with Zack Snyder's saturated colors, but
The S stands for hope, Ethan.
but it to hear that music, swelling up like with the electric guitar, which felt like the version
Christopher Reeves.
well, yeah, but like there's what was the American national anthem that was like played by guitar? Jimi Hendrix, I think it was, that played it, and it felt like so rebellious, but like true to the American spirit at the same time, like in the 1960s, where he shredded the national anthem on electric guitar. I felt like that was a very similar moment here with the Superman trailer, where you have someone shredding the electric guitar with the Superman theme as if it were the national anthem and bringing that sense of hope back. Even though the first shot we see, Superman is like like he's dying, like he's beaten, he's bleeding. This Man of Steel that's basically a god on Earth, and he's bleeding and beaten. And by the end of the trailer, I felt so hopeful. So the fact that James Gunn is able to capture that solely within a trailer with his marketing team at DC, bravo, well done. You got me on board. Like, this is what Superman is truly all about. And I am so excited for it. There's no movie that's going to be coming out this year that's going to have me more excited than that one to see where it goes. And yeah, I'm here for it.
And it really does give so much hope back into DC, especially that James Gunn is breathing new life in here. I don't know if you saw it, but I want to quickly add this in. Jason Momoa is Lobo now. Did you see that?
No, I mean,
Like a couple of hours ago, he announced.
that's awesome.
So, but no, I 100% agree with you. I can't believe we're getting a Superman and Fantastic Four film. I believe they're coming out the same week or 1 week apart. I can't believe this is happening. So,
Yeah, it's so exciting. We're gonna be like eating spoils,
oh yeah.
this year, and it's gonna be wonderful. 2026 as well. So honestly, guys, enjoy these 3 years. It's a very long time when you think about it, 2 years.
Mhm.
I mean, counting 2024, 3 years. Guys, enjoy all this wonderful cinema. You never know when we're gonna have, say, something else coming around the corner that halts, the film industry or like all these promising filmmakers from doing what they need to do.
Yeah.
So, guys, always enjoy them. Use your time wisely when it's given to you.
Yeah, definitely.
So, but yeah, we did our list, Annmarie.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow, it feels like yesterday we just did 2023.
It really does. It's been a crazy year. Is on the big screen and also the small screen. I quickly want to touch on because we had some great TV shows this year. The Penguin.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it was fantastic. It makes me so upset that Batman got pushed back again. But I can't believe the Penguin was that good. Whoever thought Colin Farrell would absolutely kill this role.
Oh, yeah, I mean, after the Batman, like, yeah, he transforms to the fact that get a series with just that character.
Mm.
I mean,
So
love it.
good.
I love it. And I gotta say, Emery, I don't think I got your take on it yet, but Dune Prophecy, what did you think about it? Without spoilers.
I'm almost done with Dune Prophecy. I have a hard time with it because it takes place in an era that Frank Herbert never visited in his Dune books. It's very much a Brian Herbert story, which, if you don't know, Frank Herbert wrote the original 6. Unfortunately, died, wasn't able to finish the 7th book. And then his son, Brian Herbert, wrote a ton of books in the universe. And so it touches back in a time that I'm not really aware of as a Dune fan. I do think it's got some cool stuff in it, especially the sisterhood. I wasn't on board at the beginning, but I like it. I like what they're doing with it. So I'll have to report back to you once I finish it. But I right now it's like a solid 7.5 for me right now. So
Okay. I finished it, when the last episode released. I was surprised it was only 6 episodes.
yeah, it was really short.
Yeah, but it really did capture the imagination of Dune and what came before, and really did hold true for the most part to Denis Villeneuve's vibes and style, and Hans Zimmer's style of music. I really enjoyed it. I'm not gonna say it was one of my favorites of the year. It was great, don't get me wrong, and very well made, but is it up there with The Penguin?
No.
Not quite, but again, I would recommend it to someone.
Yeah. Well, and also, I also want to give huge shout out to Heartstopper Season 3, a series that me and you both love. Really not sure if they'll get a Season 4. I do hope there is.
I thought it was already renewed for a season 4.
there? Okay, then I'm lying. There is a Season 4, everyone.
Yeah, like I thought, like after season 2 or whatever, it was like renewed for like 3 seasons after that.
I'm so happy. I also want to shout out Agatha All Along. Very different. Was running at the same time as Penguin. Very different vibes. But Catherine Hahn, oh my God, why are you so good in this role? I'm very happy for her that she was able to kind of take can I say a D-list character? and make her so interesting. So
Yeah, I mean, that show surprised me quite a bit. It definitely surpassed my expectations, but my expectations weren't too high, honestly. But I really did come out of that show enjoying it by the end of it. I wasn't the biggest fan of it, say like you, but I still enjoyed it. It was more of a harken back to when Marvel TV shows were more about quality than quantity.
Mhm.
And I can see that we're obviously transitioning more towards that as time goes on.
Yeah.
So,
And then I just got one more really quick. Ethan hasn't seen it. Well, you've seen the first episode. Arcane season 2,
mm,
absolutely amazing. We watched it during a little break when we were watching something else. I absolutely adored the first episode that I watched both seasons in about 2 weeks. Arcane season 2, if you don't know, it's a League of Legends kind of show. I don't like that video game, but my god, this is such a great show. Haley Steinfeld's in it. Ella Fernie from Fallout was in it as well. Absolutely incredible. One of my favorite YouTubers, shout out Friendly Space Ninja, did a video about it, and I 100% agree with all his takes. If you have not seen Arcane, do yourself a favor, watch it. It's only 2 seasons. It's very short. Absolutely incredible show.
yeah, I need to get on that train real quick.
I can't believe it didn't win the Gamer Award, but
Well,
it's fine.
Which brings me to
Yes.
Fallout.
Yeah.
Fallout is definitely a show that very much deserved. It really immersed you into that giant landscape of the wasteland, and Jonathan Nolan
Mhm.
did such a great job at that, along with Todd Howard. I was gonna say Howard Todd, but Todd Howard working together, working with the original creators down to like even like the paperwork on the desks to make it true to the game and like the universe, and to not only tell a story that feels familiar to Fallout fans, but also feels brand new because it is a brand new story. Just, it holds true to what came before and what its source material is. And it takes place concurrently with the world that's going on in those video games that people love so much. So it can stand on its own while being like, again, something that we were saying early on is how you make a really good continuation of a franchise or series or some sort of inspired by situation or adaptation. So absolutely shout out to Fallout, deserves so many awards. I would also say that the Rings of Power season 2, Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power season 1, I personally enjoyed. You guys know both I and Steve, who we occasionally have on the show, both enjoyed it a lot more than a lot of other people did, but it dragged at some points.
Yeah.
As
Sure.
I'm starting to read The Fellowship of the Ring, and the beginning of that book kind of does drag a little bit, but there's a reason behind it, and it does, it holds true to Tolkien in that sense here. And when we get to the second season, it feels like we get to that point in Rivendell in the first book where it's like after that things start to pick up. So, second season of Rings of Power, very well done. Great way to turn things around because a lot of people that did not like the first season but were still willing to watch the second season really kind of turned around as well because of that as a result. So well done to the cast and crew there, production team. So Rings of Power season 2, give it a watch. And then last but not least, it was here.
It was a good year for TV shows too. It started off a little rocky with the Acolyte, but it got better throughout the year. So
Yes. So I would have to say, even though it's not done yet, I got to shout it out for the good it has done so far in the middle of the year. So Skeleton Crew, Star Wars Skeleton
Oh.
Crew. We have yet to see the last few episodes, but from what I've seen so far, I am so happy. It is exactly what Star Wars needs to be for a show like that, and the team behind it, they love doing what they're doing here. You can tell all the love and effort that they're putting into it and so much heart. So, and Neil forever, I swear by that little elephant looking boy. Like what a great character. You got a great team here and they're doing such a great job with a franchise I hold truly dear to my heart, and I hope it only gets better from here.
Yeah.
So, it's great to see for a franchise that's been struggling recently. So,
yeah, definitely.
Skeleton Crew. But yeah, I think Annmarie. It's been a wild year.
It's been a year. Thank you, everyone who has listened over this year. We were so happy with everything that we were able to accomplish this year. We started doing reels and we started doing clips, and it seems like everyone enjoyed that. So, again, thank you, everyone.
Yeah, I mean, we started off with such a low subscriber count, and we ended up breaking 100, which I never thought we would ever do. Like, we're just two weirdos sitting in a room, like, talking to each other, like, we're in an insane asylum. And you guys just happen to like listening to us or, want to talk with us, even though you occasionally disagree or agree. We're always happy to listen, and you guys are always happy to hear us out. We love the subjectivity of film and TV and art at large, and we're happy that you are putting this cassette in the thing. Wow.
The player?
In the player. I have no sense of vocabulary today.
Have a great 2025.
Yes, but guys, thank you again so much for joining us on this final edition of Cassette Take for 2024. We hope you haven't ejected thus far this year into this podcast, but whether you have or haven't, please do not forget to rewind. And with that will end volume 2024. We will see you guys on the next one.
I can't believe that.
Thank you so much. We love y'all.
Bye.